President Donald Trump has announced that the United States will intervene to stabilize Sudan, a crisis-ridden nation that's become the world's largest humanitarian catastrophe. Considering Sudan has been burning for over 18 months now and the death toll has already reached incomprehensible levels, the need of the hour is immediate intervention. In fact, it's already too late, and if something concrete is not done at this very juncture, the Sudan crisis will mount to a level that no power in the world will have the means to undo the damage. First, let's talk about what's actually happening in Sudan. Because if we go by the numbers, it tells the story of one of the deadliest civil wars of the 21st century. Since April 2023, the Sudanese armed forces and the paramilitary rapid support forces have been locked in a brutal power struggle that's killed somewhere between 20,000 and 150,000 people, depending on which estimate you trust the most. In fact, the former US envoy for Sudan has suggested the real figure might be as high as 4 lakh. Well, nobody knows for certain because both sides have made data collection nearly impossible. Systematically, they have destroyed hospitals, communication networks, and also they have blocked humanitarian access in the most vulnerable areas. What do we know is that in the first half of 2025 alone, at least 3,384 civilians were killed, and that's just the documented cases. 14 million people have been forced to flee their homes since the war began. Nearly 12 million remain displaced, out of which 7.3 million within Sudan and over 4.2 million who have crossed border in countries like Chad, South Sudan, Egypt, Ethiopia, and into other nations. The situation in Darfur is nothing short of genocidal. The RSF, which evolved from the Janjaweed militia responsible for 2003 genocide that killed 3 lakh people, has been systematically targeting non-Arab communities. If we believe what the people on the ground says, the RSF moved house to house, executing civilians, mutilating bodies, and committing widespread sexual violence. Reports from the ground also describe that at least 1,500 people killed in Al-Fashar in just the first week after it fell, including mass execution at the Saudi maternity hospital where nearly 500 people were slaughtered by the RSF fighters. In fact, now the Human Rights Watch has verified videos showing RSF fighters celebrating over a pile of dead bodies, executing wounded civilians begging for mercy. Well, the RSF now controls all of Darfur, and they are using that control to accelerate the campaign of ethnic cleansing. The RSF has used starvation as a weapon of war, encircling cities like Al-Fashar with trenches and sand berms, preventing traders and aid groups from reaching 500,000 internally displaced people. Before the city fell, Doctors Without Borders reported that 75% of children they screened were actually malnourished, and in Zamzam camp, a child was dying every 2 hours. Now comes the most worrying part. Famine has been officially confirmed in both Al-Fashar and Kadugli, with at least 20 additional localities at risk of slipping into famine conditions if humanitarian access continues to be blocked by the RSF fighters. So now Trump says America will intervene. He's promised to use the influence of the presidency to bring an immediate halt to what he's calling the most violent place on earth. He said he's working with Saudi Arabia, Egypt, and the UAE. But the same UAE has been arming the RSF with Chinese-made weaponry and building military bases in Sudan to support the rebels. Well, the contradiction is glaring. Trump wants to broker peace, while one of his supposed partners has been fueling the war in Sudan. The question is whether he understands that the UAE has every incentive to keep this war burning, and whether he's willing to confront the reality, or if Sudan will become another headline in the pursuit of legacy-building peace deals while millions continue to starve and die.